sure I got the right thing in my hand here. Pleasure to see everybody here today, especially the boys from Headland. Thank you very much for showing up. That's great. Appreciate it. And again, I want to apologize. As you can see by my appearance, December's coming fast, and I'm going to be in the Ernest Hemingway look-alike contest. So it's my 5th year playing Santa Claus, and what a joy it is. It is so much fun. I really have a great time. So there's a news flash, right? June 1st, 1976, the Bartram Trail Conference meets right here in Montgomery, and over the first official meeting Tuesday, and discuss plans for the development of the Bartram Trail as a national scenic trail. Trail would follow the route of colonial naturalist and artist William Bartram, who made a journey through the Southeast 240 years ago now, right? So that's where we start. And thank you, Katie, for the presentation. It was a great introduction. I actually deleted 3 of my slides because of your presentation. It was excellent, excellent. So the Bartram Trail Conference was formed, way back then. And so we're meeting here again to learn about Bartram and his world and discuss the original goal, the National Heritage Trail, and so forth. And so and that's what we're here for. So just as a review of where we are now, our purpose was established in '76 as part of the bicentennial observance to locate and mark the route of the pioneering Philadelphia naturalist William Bartram. So that's how we started out, was to do that. It was a top-down organization. As Katie said, Governor George Wallace called up all his buddies after urging from Miss McGinnis and so forth, and said, give me 2 people from every state and we'll start this thing off. And that's really how the thing started. And also it came from the top, okay? Because there was no bottom, right? And that's exactly right. So now, as mentioned earlier, the Bartram Trail Conference employs what we call a string of pearls concept, highlighting significant sites along the way and culturally significant locations along the Bartram route. So that's what we do, okay? Additionally, the conference works to encourage the study, preservation, and interpretation of William Bartram heritage. And have we not heard some fantastic studies today? This is great. It really is. This is what we should do. It really is. It's terrific. It really is. I'm thankful for everybody. So what has already happened? Well, in 78, I believe it was, we actually published, as Katie mentioned, this document. And it's called the Bartram Heritage Study. And it also includes the Bartram Heritage Report, which is part of the study. And the Bartram Heritage Report was a culmination of the Bartram Heritage Study that was proposed to the U.S. Department of the Interior by the Bartram Trail Conference in '77, suggested then, serves now as a complement to the Interior Department's Bartram Trail Feasibility Study. Okay, so you can see the progression. We had to compile this 100 and something page book on Bartram's travels throughout the Southeast, and that book still exists today. And you can get this if you go to the Bartram website. You can Bartram Trail website. Bartram Trail Conference website. You can you'll see it there, and you can download it and on Google Documents. So as a result of that, then legislation was passed to do a feasibility study, and they did. And so they produced this document here. It's a trail study by the National Park Service using our Heritage Report as a primary resource, and that study was produced and presented in 1982, okay? Then what? This is what they call their Carr map, okay? And you can see it goes exactly Bartram's routes all the way through to Florida and Georgia and South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. It's all there, okay? Now, luckily, we have a really good graphics guy, and here's our corridor map, and this is Brad Sanders' creation, and you can see he lists here a lot of Bartram significant sites all along the way. So when you think about the historic Bartram corridor, this is what it would look like if it was a national historic area now. Okay? Everybody with me? Good. Because as a result of the study, the Bartram Heritage Project, they concluded by the National Park Service, this is what we should include. And I better put my glasses on just for good measure here. And it said that there should be a designation of the Bartram Heritage Corridor. There should be a designation and development of Bartram National Scenic Trails, designation of Bartram National Recreation Trails, designation of Bartram Scenic Highways, Memorial Highways, designation of Bartram Heritage Centers, designation of Bartram Heritage Cities, and then identification and protection of natural areas and historic sites and landmarks associated with the travels and work of William Bartram, and the development and implementation of interpretive program. And so, wow. That sounds like a daunting task, right? So I went to the soul of William Bartram. I said, how did we do, William Bartram? Well, there are Bartram National Recreation Trails. There's 8 of them. There's designation of Bartram Scenic Byways. Y'all have one here in Florida. We've got one in Alabama. We've got one in Florida. Memorial Highways, we've got one in Florida. The development and designation of Bartram Heritage Centers. I would submit that this place is a heritage center because it has so much Bartram information in it and everything. And Louisiana has excellent resources to act as a heritage center. Heritage cities. Well, who's doing the designating? I say we do it and do that. Identification and protection of natural areas and so forth. We see that in all of the trails and everything that are associated with us. And development and implementation of an interpretive program, it's done in in a lot of different ways, but especially on our website. So Billy Bartram says, hey, we're moving right along. Without the designation as a heritage corridor, we're moving right along. So what is already established? There's 8 national recreation trails within the area. There's 32 established trails within the National Heritage Area. There's 17 Bartram routes that are noted, 2 Bartram Scenic Byways, 88 Bartram Trail historical markers. Is that correct, Christopher? Is that right? Okay. Okay. All right. I think there's more, but we'll get to that later. There's 120 dedicated sites that we've identified, 28 in Georgia, 30 in Florida, 23 in Carolina, 33 in North Carolina, 20 in Alabama, and 16 in Louisiana that could have markers. Does that make sense? And there are many of the above sites and all are public lands. And so we don't have to buy anything. There's no eminent domain involved. There's nothing involved with spending a lot of money on land. It's there. And in the case of Florida and St. Johns River, you're floating down the river and it looks just about like it did when Billy and John came down here in 1763. It does. And not only that, it's mostly public property because it's all in swampland and so forth up and down the St. Johns River, and that's what we're blessed with. So what does the interpretation look like? Well, here's an idea. This is off our own website, and we have noticed here that every state has the same thing. And I guess, Brad, did you write all of this interpretation? Or no. Okay, all right. But it's there. And the whole idea is if you want to find out about Bartram in your state, here it is. And that's a really great asset as well. Plus, you've got the book and all of kind of other scholarship that's available. So, what does it look like? It looks like this, and you've already seen this map. And again, this is one of Brad's creations, which is fantastic. And you can click on any of these things and tell you all about that particular site. Make for a great vacation, doesn't it? It really does. And not only that, but the Bartram Trail Conference now has a Bartram Trail historical markers, and it's really nice. We have the William Bartram embossed on the top of it, and it's noted that it's in cooperation with the Bartram Trail Conference. But by the time we got around to this, You know, the state of Florida, they had 20 markers already out there by the Federation of Garden Clubs and all, and so we're piggybacking on their success. Now we're the authorizing authority on this thing. We use the words officially recognized, Bartram's locale and so forth. And this is a copy, and sorry I chopped up Louisiana, but oh well, I did. I apologize. But anyway, that's what we've got right now. So that's something we have done. And these places are on the ground, and they're alive and living, and as we've heard comments. So there's historical markers. And if any of you that didn't see the movie last night, this is our new cornerstone of what we have. The heart of William Bartram is alive and well. Just watch the film. It really is. It's terrific. And he all the quotes in there and everything like that. And this, it is reliving William Bartram's heart. It really is. And it now belongs to the Bartram Trail Conference, and we're passionate about that. And so we own this. It's wonderful, just wonderful. So this is a list of the national recreation trails that are associated. The Bartram Canoe Trail, the National Recreation Trail in Tuskegee, the Bartram Trail at Thurmond Lake, the National Recreation Trail in Putnam County, the North Carolina Bartram National Recreation Trail, Black Creek, and so forth. So these are all existence. This is all has been done. This is what the North Carolina Bartram Trail Recreation Trail looks like on the website. Actually, this is a picture of their main kiosk on the trail and everything. So it exists. The Ski Natural Bartram Trail, it's out there. You can get there this afternoon if you hurry. Bartram Trail in Putnam County. They developed a really, really incredible website that's very interpretive by site. You go to the sites on this website, and it tells you exactly what, when, and what's there right now. That was written by Dean Campbell. And not only that, but it says we prove it by using John Bartram's journal and William Bartram's travels. We use his other writings as well. So it's really, really interpretive. And if you really want to take a neat trip, go and read about it first, then go out there and actually see it. It's a real, real neat way to do this thing. So that exists. There's the William Bartram Scenic and Historic Highway right there. It goes basically from Mandarin and near Jacksonville down to State Road 16 just about, and it's just beautiful. It really is. And that's spawned a whole cottage industry of Bartram stuff. But the latest one in Florida is really remarkable. This just came online this past week or so. The Stetson Institute for Water and Environmental Resilience. I think I could come out with a better name, but anyway. But that institute is an arm of Stetson University. Clay Henderson, some of you may know him. He's the developer, and Tony Abbott is the developer of the River of Lakes Heritage Corridor. And that's a combination of both highways, biking trails, and waterways, and so forth. And so they've built this on the banks of the St. Johns River, and this is their signage that they're using. And so this is all brand new. The grand opening is going to be in December, including Bartram Gardens at this location. And so what does it look like? I think it's incredible what they've done. They've taken Bartram plants, Bartram's fish. This is, showing the river and where the fish kiosk is. Bartram birds. They have all this interpretation there. And boy, is this going to be fun to go see, isn't it? It really is. And this is all brand new. And again, grand opening in December. How cool is that? So we're on the map and we're out there. And even beyond that, this is a partial list of trails within the Bartram Trail Heritage Area or Corridor. Those terms are interchangeable. It turned from corridors, now it's the correct term is area. But we need to connect with these guys, right? We do, because they're within our territory, and we need to make them acknowledge that. So I mentioned to you about a cottage industry built around Bartram. Just up and down State Road 13 and in Duval and St. Johns County, there's a Bartram Trail High School. There's a Bartram Trail Garden Club. There's a John Bartram chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution in the Villages. There is a William Bartram chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution in Palatka, Florida. There is a Puck Puggy chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution in the Villages. Awesome. I got to tell you a funny story. I went down there to give them a presentation as why is your name Puck Puggy? And, because a lot of them didn't know. And so I was getting there and I was reading out of Bartram's Travels where the cowkeeper gave him the name of Puck Puggy. And when I finished the sentence, they stood up and clapped. I was so excited to know where Puck Puggy came from. It was great. It really was great. But there's also a Bartram Trail Rotary Club. There's a Puck Puggy Playground and Zip Line in Palatka, Florida. There's a Bartram Trail Surveying Company in Green Cove Springs, and there's a Bartram Trail Veterinarian there in St. Augustine. So the name is out there and all, but that's Bartram's claim to fame there. So after doing all this, we had a conference yesterday, and we met to discuss a path for designation as a National Heritage Area. The National Park Service has given us a list of questions to answer to determine our path. The Bartram Trail Conference discussed the path and concluded that the path is at least a 3 to 6 year endeavor. So let's get started. And first, we need to work through the questions to determine our plan. That's the way that they've done it. So here are the 4 following questions that the National Park Service has sent to us. Why is a National Heritage Area designation your goal? Okay, so this takes us all the way back to 1975, because the rules have changed all along the way. All right, the next question is, what is your region's nationally important story? We got this, right? We got a great story to tell. What is your capacity to establish a national area? That's a really tough question there, because that involves people and skills. And what is your region's level of awareness and support for National Heritage Area designation? So, in Florida, I'm not worried about that. In Georgia, I'm not worried about it. In Alabama, I'm really not worried about it. But there's some areas that I am worried about, and so we got to start getting there ready. So we decided to come up with a plan to go forth. So our plan is this: we're going to begin by answering those key questions. Why is the National Heritage Area your goal? And continue dialogue with the National Area Coordinator. And then we wanted to establish state-by-state chairs and committees, kind of like George Wallace did, but we need to have feet on the ground in each state to tell us where these locations are and what are the associating groups. We've got to have that, and we need to have it by state coordinator for that. We need to establish key collaborations, Federation of Garden Clubs, get back to that, Native American tribes, state tourism groups, state environmental groups, historic agencies. And when you look at, again, what Katie presented to us is we just got to keep doing that. And we haven't been good at making those connections so that they're functional. We were talking about a Bartram Trail Conference recognition process in the pattern of our marker program, where we would recognize the Bartram Trail Society of Florida as a legitimate Bartram Trail Conference supporter and that kind of thing. So we're going to talk about that. Bartram Trail sites, trails, gardens, events, anything that has a Bartram named organization, we want to talk to them at least to try to come up with a collaboration for them. We also want to establish a database, and we need to start making a preliminary list of foundations for funding. And for one of the things we found out is we're going to need some paid folks to do this, because I'm retired and I've got grandchildren and I got fish to catch and places to go and all, and people are writing books and people are doing other stuff and all that kind of stuff. We're just not the kind of people to do this. We need professionals to do that. So we got to figure out how to do that. And lastly is communicate. We've got to get better at talking to everybody, right? So why do we need to establish state-by-state Bartram committees? We're already connected with North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, and Louisiana. We've got good connections there. Where we're disconnected is South Carolina and Mississippi. Those are the disconnects, right? So if any of you from South Carolina, I want to talk to you. And anybody from Mississippi, we need to talk to you, because we need to get those key people that can give us information from those states. That's the idea behind this. So the collaborations that we're looking for, we need a collaboration with the Bartram Trail Society of Florida, the North Carolina Bartram Trail Society, Federation of Garden Clubs in all 8 states or 7 states, the Audubon Society, Sierra Club, all the environmental groups we need to have connections with, recreational trail agencies, historical societies, existing Bartram Trail managers we need to talk to and see what kind of collaboration we get. And really anything that has the Bartram name on it, we need to talk to. So that's the collaborations we can do. So this is the emotional close. Now's the time for all good Bartramites to come to the aid of their conference. Okay? And what do we need you to do and you to commit to? Is first of all, you need to join the Bartram Trail Conference. Go to the website, sign up. It's a few bucks. If you haven't done it already, Brad, I didn't understand exactly if you came to this conference. Does that mean something?
If you are not a member, you pay for all the events. That gives you access to events, and you're a member for next year.
Excellent.
That forced you to become a member.
Yes, exactly. But if you're not a member, you need to become a member because that membership supports us. Not only that, it allows us to contact you and it allows us to communicate with you, right? So we need that. And then you need to help us make connections with the groups that have the Bartram sites, the trails, the museums, the museums of Bartram artifacts, native plant gardens, anything that you can think of in that Bartram thought thing. We need to start making contact with them to build our case. And then if in the case of the Bartram historical markers, that's something we can do right now. We can do that stuff right now. So on the website, there's a direction on how to do it, how much it costs, and all that good stuff is right there on the website. If you've got a site that you want to have designated as an official Bartram historical site, then click on the button and follow the bouncing ball, and we'll get that handled for you. And that's really, really important for us to do. And last but not least, don't leave today without connecting with us. Please don't. Well, I know we got your name on our list and all that kind of stuff, but it sure would be nice to get a pat on the back and a Sam, I'll help from you. We would appreciate it. We really would. And also that's my story. We want to thank y'all all for being here. This is just really wonderful attendance and everything. We really appreciate it. I wish there were twice as many more folks, but listen, this is where things start. The enthusiasm that we've sensed for the people here attending the conference has been really wonderful, and we really appreciate it. So with that said, I got one commercial announcement to make. On September the 26th and 27th of 2020, the Bartram Trail Society of Florida will invite you to Palatka for our 5th annual St. Johns River Bartram Frolic. And we will have all kind of fun things to go. We center around living history. And at that, we have William Bartram. We have the Long Warrior show up. And we even have Trader Job Wiggins, Bartram's guide, and everything show up at the thing. And it's really wonderful. So please come see us. And that's all I got to say about that. Okay, thank you.